So I'm here with Paul Vossen from Northern California. Paul and I have known each other for a number of years. This is a very unique guy, expert in the olive oil field, and also a fellow Minnesotan, if I recall, Paul.
Yes, that's right.
We've got common ties in Minnesota. Paul spent most of his career at the UC Cooperative, University of California Cooperative Extension.
There's my UC Davis hat.
There you go. He was so he worked in the field to help producers of all kinds of fruits produce fruit trees and great fruit. And then back in 1990, he was one of the founders of the California Olive Oil Council, and has developed expertise in sensory evaluation. So, you know, from the field to the mill where the olive oils are made, where he's got expertise to help producers and processors, to the table with sensory evaluation. Paul appears on a number of different panels and juries to evaluate olive oil. He's been working with us for 3 or 4 years. Paul is just a very unique guy with expertise from the terroir to the palate, and you just do not see this very often. Very unique guy, and he has helped Fustini's during this pandemic situation to select our first harvest green fruit olive oils from the Southern Hemisphere. And so I've asked Paul to join us and go through the tasting and the description of each of the 3 oils that we're going to start out with. So Paul, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for your support.
Very welcome. And because of the pandemic, wasn't able to do that this year.
Right.
So unfortunately, we had to rely on just getting samples from people. And fortunately, I have a very good relationship with a lot of these producers. I consulted with them when I was an agricultural advisor with the University of California, and also as a private consultant. And so when I had an opportunity to select oils, I went down and visited them a number of times over the last few years. And so when we could no longer travel, I could no longer travel down there, I just contacted them and said, okay, please send me photographs of your fruit. Let me know when harvest is, how much fruit do you have, how's the milling process, what are the temperatures like, what's the fruit quality, how's everything going?
Yep.
So they did that and kept in contact with me. What I'd like to do is to essentially, it just shows a little bit about how to taste, and it shows a picture of the sensory profile sheet and the bar graph that I produced, and then talks a little bit about aroma, bitterness, pungency, fruitiness from the fruity standpoint of fruitiness, and ripe fruit, and then green fruitiness, and then maturity index. And I also wanted to make sure and point out that we analyze all of our oils that we select for pesticides. In fact, we've had to reject some olive oils because of pesticide residues.
Right.
Some of the things that we definitely look for are freshness, and then also in that presentation I have some photographs of the producer that produced these 3 oils. So we're going to taste Arbequina, Coronaiki, and Coratina. And the Arbequina was harvested with an over-the-row mechanical harvester. The Coronaiki and Coratina were harvested with a trunk shaker.
And Paul, would you consider all of these to be first harvest oils, early harvest?
Yes, these are all our early harvest oils. The Arbequina was harvested right around May 1st, and the Coronaiki and Coratina were harvested around May 15th. Coratina is a little bit later, May 20th.
And so to put that into perspective, the first harvest oils we brought in with your help from Spain in the fall in the Northern Hemisphere, where we were there at the end of October, which is kind of like the end of April.
Exactly.
You know, when you do the 6-month turn. So these are extremely green, fresh, first harvest oils.
Yes. We select the oils on the basis of, and I also have a photograph in the little presentation that I gave you. We take the olive, it's kind of a yellow straw colored, and we squeeze it, has to be soft, and out comes the juice. And that's when we know that that fruit is ready. If it's hard green, it's very difficult to get the oil out of it. Plus,
Right.
you only get flavors of sort of a woody, leafy, deep green. It's not very complex, not really all that interesting. But as the fruit begins to soften and ripen just a little bit, that's when you get these perfect spicy green, slightly bitter, slightly pungent, in some cases quite pungent oils that are very fresh and very young and very robust and wonderful. Okay, let's start with the Arbequina. As you can see in the background, I have a setup here with a bunch of different oils that were sent to me as samples. Normally, we would taste oils with a blue glass. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
Blue. But that's for official tastings for judges or for market grade. But when I taste the oils, I like to taste them in a clear glass so I can see what the color is.
Right. Beautiful.
Because that helps me evaluate the oil not only by flavor but also by color. When we're judging oils, you don't want color to be a bias. But in this case, color is an important thing. So you look at the oil and you look at the very, very nice color in a clear glass. And what you want to do in the glass is just swirl it around a little bit and then smell it. Take a nice big whiff. This is a really fresh, exciting oil. It is an early harvest Arbequina, so it's got more of that sort of a grassy, minty, spicy herbal aroma. And the flavor is just absolutely delicious. It has a little bit of butteriness, a little bit of nuttiness, which is typical of Arbequina.
Yeah.
But because it was harvested quite early, this is grassy and herbaceous and spicy. It has just a little bit of bitterness and a little bit of pungency, but not too much. It's right at the edge of mild to medium.
Mild to medium.
Really, I'd call it really probably would call it the delicate medium oil.
And it pairs well in terms of food pairings, Paul, with many things, right?
Yes, this oil would go with a lot of things, primarily things that you don't want to overwhelm the flavor of.
Right.
So it's things that are mild cheeses, salad, greens, chicken, fish, things like that. This would add a little bit of zing and complement it very well without overwhelming the flavor of those types of foods.
Terrific.
This oil had a very low acidity, very low peroxide level, very high DAGs, 91.7, and polyphenols was 295. So I've still got a little bit of a tickle in the back of my throat.
Yeah.
Normally Arbequinas, when they harvest them a little bit riper, have around 150 parts per million of polyphenols, but this one's quite high, almost 300, 295. Absolutely fantastic oil.
Beautiful. Can't wait to get it in.
Okay. I take a little drink of water before I taste the next one. This next oil is a Coronaiki from the same producer in Chile. They harvested it about May 15th. And we don't have the lab results back from this yet. We have the pesticide results back from it, and it was totally pesticide free, but we don't have the other lab results that give us the free fatty acid and peroxide value, etc. But by tasting it, we just know this is a really nice fresh oil. The aroma is absolutely wonderful. It's got more of a tropical fruit aroma as compared to the last oil, which was more of a grassy, spicy. This is very very tropical fruit flavor, and smells like ripe bananas. And the taste is absolutely fantastic. It's got some bitterness. It's at the edge probably of medium to robust.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice round flavor, mouth, and a round feel in the mouth. The banana comes out. It's both a kind of a green banana, more of a green banana in the taste, and more of a ripe banana in the aroma. But it also has this sort of spicy green herbal aspect to it as well. Now, this oil is going to be used on foods that would be stronger flavored, things like bruschetta, or something with a tomato sauce or herbs, or sharper cheeses or meats or things like that, that could take this flavor and complement the food, and also add some interesting aspects to it. Okay.
Hey, Paul, while you're clearing your palate for the third oil, could you talk a little bit about what makes First Harvest green fruit olive oil so unique and special, the benefits?
Well, there are a lot of things that are unique about it. And of course, one of the things that makes anything unique and valuable is that it's more rare. And the reason it's rare is because not very many people do this. It's sort of a new thing.
Yeah.
And it essentially means that you have to start the season a little bit earlier than normal. Mm-hmm. And from a producer standpoint, they get less oil because the fruit is not quite as ripe, it's not quite as soft. And so when they crush and extract the oil from the fruit, not as much oil comes out.
Lower yield.
Just because it's physically kind of caught within the cell walls, within the pulp of the fruit. So the producer would say, well, I don't want to start that early because I'm not going to make as much money because I'm not going to get as much oil. But we found out over the last few years that in almost all cases, the premium oils that are winning awards at competitions are those early harvest oils. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that's nice about early harvest oils that makes them a little bit higher in quality is that it gives them less opportunity on the tree to be affected by other things. So be affected by hail or rain or disease or insect infestation, any of those kinds of things. So we're almost always starting off with fruit that's better quality. Mm-hmm. Also, during the harvest process, when you harvest those greener olives, they have a higher antioxidant content. So any damage that you would see at all in the harvest process would be absorbed by those antioxidants. And so you don't see it reflected so much in the final product, whereas a riper fruit has less of those antioxidants and tends to ferment and change very, very quickly compared to an oil that's harvested or olives that are harvested a little bit greener.
Yeah.
The other thing that from the tasting standpoint is that when you have green olives or greener olives, they have a higher bitterness and higher pungency, a higher polyphenol content. As the fruit goes from green to yellow to kind of a purple violet color, those polyphenols and various nice compounds in there, the antioxidant compounds that relate to bitterness and pungency and the health aspects of olive oil, they diminish. And they can diminish actually quite rapidly. In a period of about 30 days, they can go from very, very high polyphenol contents in 6, 7, 800 level down to 30, 40, 50, almost nothing in a period of about a month. So catching them in that period where you're going to get some really nice, interesting flavors from the olives, but also have those high polyphenol contents really comes from that early harvest fruit.
That's beautiful. And you get it's the free fatty acid component that allows us to get that oil if you want to at very high temperatures in terms of food prep.
So there's two aspects to that. One is because of the antioxidant content, high antioxidant content of the oil, because of the early harvest. And that it relates to when we taste it, that's directly correlated with bitterness and pungency. Those antioxidants in the cooking process protect the oil. So as you heat it up, you begin to get oxidation. And so the antioxidants prevent the oil from changing very much, which is not true of any other oil. I mean, it's only true about olive oil. And then the second thing is that when you have really well-made oils from sound early harvest fruit, and by well-made, I mean the equipment is very clean, the process runs very smoothly, the malaxation is a short period of time, 15 minutes to a half an hour. The oils are filtered immediately after they're produced, stored without oxygen, you know, all those different kinds of things in that process. Yeah. You end up with oils that have a very low free fatty acid content. Some people call it acidity, but it's not really acidity, it's free fatty acid. Mm-hmm. Free fatty acids are fatty acids that are broken away because of detrimental effects on the fruit handling mostly and in the processing. So when you have very low free fatty acid content, those oils have a very high smoke point. And this is one of the reasons why people often got confused with, they said, well, you can't cook with extra virgin olive oils, because they would go buy an extra virgin olive oil from the grocery store and just a regular extra virgin olive oil. And unfortunately, it probably wasn't extra virgin olive oil, even though it was labeled that. And many of those oils have a high free fatty acid content and a much lower smoke point. So these specialty oils that we have selected, early harvest, made very, very carefully, have a very low free fatty acid content and therefore have a very high smoke point.
Mm-hmm. Terrific.
Okay, let's taste the Coratina. So once again, what I do when I taste these is I like to get some aroma into the volatile space of the glass, volatile aromas in there, and then take a big whiff. This is a typical Coratina, really nice oil, quite herbaceous, spicy, grassy. Let me check my notes here, what I wrote before. Well, I got to taste it here first. Really nicely balanced. Quite a bit of pungency. This is a robust oil. Also, the bitterness kind of creeps up on you in the back of your tongue. The predominant flavors are sort of a dark, leafy green flavor, almost like nettles or black tea. It also has quite a bit of mint and kind of a black pepper finish on the mouth. Mm-hmm. This oil would be fantastic on just about any high flavored foods, any spicy foods that have a lot of complexity to them. It would overwhelm the flavor of mild foods.
Right.
And what an absolutely wonderful oil.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Paul, thank you very much for working with Fustini's to help us in this crazy time make the selections that in regular times we would be making in person. We are super excited to get these oils that you showed to us into the store and to our customers. We expect that's going to be in August. They'll all be under the Select brand. Many of you recognize this. And we've got them at the advice of the expert Paul Vossen. So thank you, Paul.
You're very welcome. Let me say one more thing before I leave. Your clientele, your customers are really in a special position because nobody can get these oils in any other place. I don't know of anywhere else where someone is going down to the Southern Hemisphere in April and May and getting fresh oils, and then going to the Northern Hemisphere in October and November and getting fresh oils, bringing them in very, very quickly and getting them to you fresh, wonderful oils just recently made. That is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
Especially at the price point that you're selling these oils. You can go and get online, you can get very, very expensive oils that are, you know, $50, $60, $80, $100 a bottle. But these oils are special oils that have been selected by reputable producers, very high quality producers. I know the processing plants. I've been to the orchards. I've seen the fruit.
Yeah.
They do a very good job, and so you're going to have some fantastic oils there. And your customers, as they taste these, are going to go, "Wow, these are really good." And then 6 months, they're going to want some other ones, and
That's
6
right.
months, they're going to want some other ones.
And we'll have. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah.